Party of 5.5.
Hello.
How are you doing, Rebecca?
I'm doing so great.
We are like neon today in our
We are
Savannah
glowing.
Banana shirts, aren't we?
That's right. We're glowing.
I know. We could turn the lights off and you could still see us.
Our shirts and our teeth.
Yep. So we are here today. We've talked to a lot. We love sports.
Yes, we do.
We love a lot of things, but we really are a sports family.
We are.
Specifically baseball, but we like every sport except maybe hockey, unless we're on the front row where you can really see the players.
Right.
So we've talked to a lot of announcers on the show. We've talked to Eric Nadell, Hall of Famer for the Texas Rangers. We've talked to Dana Larson, who does, oh my gosh, she does Rangers. She does everything. Anything local, any local team in Texas, she's there. We've done Kyle Yeomans, who is also with the Dallas Cowboys. So we've had a lot of different unique voices on, and it's just so cool to hear their stories about why they're in the sport they're in and how they love the sport they're in.
That's right.
So it's so cool to hear those unique stories.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What does stilts,
Okay.
a fireball,
Stilts, a fireball.
yes, and a rodeo cowboy clown have in common?
So you're saying stilts, rodeo clown,
And a fireball.
and a fireball. What am I winning if I get this?
Nothing.
Well, I'm not going to put that much effort in.
Well, don't then. I'll just tell you.
Tell me.
What it has to do with is banana ball. And if you have not watched Banana Ball, what are you people doing with your life? I mean, actually, today we are interviewing the broadcaster for Banana Ball. His name is Biko Skalla. What does his name come from or mean exactly? Well, you'll just have to keep listening to find out.
That's right.
He's super energetic and fascinating. He is the youngest broadcaster we've had on. Probably explains all that crazy energy he has. You're going to love this interview with him, and you're going to want to go and be a K Club member of the Savannah Bananas so you can get some tickets to go see this amazing sport. Please enjoy this interview with Biko.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. You've been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what can gather. You feel a dream, can't you see getting closer? Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a picture in the pulpit and your blind devotion. There's something breaking at the brick of every wall, it's holding all that you know.
Thank you so much for taking time with us today. We know you're busy. We got a lot of questions, and so we're so excited to talk to you. we had on Matt Wolf, and he is fantastic. We love that family. And then, of course, the umpire, Vincent, was fantastic. So
I don't know if you saw it, but we did a dance off with Vincent.
yeah,
So.
Vincent showed us some dance moves.
Yeah.
That's pretty legendary.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun. I've been told I'm not old enough to be a dancing like a granny yet, so I'm not there yet. But someday, that's my dream.
Yeah, I think you've got a few decades till then, but we'll be ready for you when you reach that moment.
Thank you, thank you.
Like you're in the minor leagues and then you hit the major leagues.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There.
Good to know. All right, let's get straight to it. Thank you so much for coming to Hardy Party 5.5. First of all, tell me about your name. Like, it's such an unusual name, Biko, right?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor, and I'm always happy to chat bananas. And very good question. Not many people ask me about the name. Biko is a South African name. I'm not South African at all. But Stephen Biko was an early freedom fighter who fought against the apartheid and was killed by police really early on in the apartheid. So my mom really admired him. There's a great movie about him. There's a bunch of songs. Most famously, Peter Gabriel has a song called Biko. So my real name is Nicholas. Not many people actually know that. Yeah. So Biko, yeah, it's technically a nickname. But it started when I was I was a toddler. My mom and my dad were in love with Nicholas. It didn't really spark joy too much for them. So my mom says that she asked me what I wanted to be called, and she says, I don't know how much I believe it, that I said Biko.
Okay.
I think I probably said something that maybe resembled it in some way, and she said, "Oh, you said Biko," but I loved it, and it caught on.
Because she wanted Biko from the beginning.
So that she's gonna hear what she wanted.
Yeah, right. That's kind of what I think. But also, she could have just named me that. So I don't know. I think she had a change of heart a couple of years in.
That's funny.
I think it's great. I love it.
That's awesome.
I absolutely love it.
It's definitely memorable, and it goes with the bananas. Like they have to have an announcer called Biko.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very good point. I've only met one other Biko in my life. There was a professor at Syracuse, and his name was like Biko. I think he had Mandela in there. There was like 4 freedom fighters in his name. Yeah, and then I met a dog named Biko once. But it's cool to have something that most people haven't heard before.
That's awesome.
So speaking of Syracuse, you're from New York?
Yes.
Okay, and so you grew up there, and now do you live in Savannah now, or do you just go to Savannah? Are you like going back and forth?
When there are banana ball games to call, I'm in Savannah, but I currently reside in Manhattan, even though I grew up 2 hours north of New York City.
Oh, okay.
Because you grew up on a farm, right?
Yes. Well, I moved to a co-housing commune, a pretty hippy-dippy, interesting joint when I was like 3.5, and truly grew up there. There weren't any animals or anything because it was in the village of Saugerties, where you're not allowed to have a full-on farm. But then when my dad and my stepmom got married when I was 14 or so, they got a little hobby farm on the outskirts of Saugerties. 17 acres, started with a dog. Then you get a couple cats, couple more dogs, 2 goats, you get some ducks. Now all of a sudden they've got like 20 goats, 50 chickens, 20 ducks, and it's a full-fledged thing over there. But yeah, I've bounced around a little bit.
Okay.
Kind of next, I want to interview his parents. I feel like I would love them.
Pretty fascinating. So
they're really interesting folks.
You're growing up on a farm with quotations, not building into a farm. So what was your dream job, and how did sports play into that?
That's a really good question. So I've always loved baseball more than anything I can imagine in my life. My uncle Mike, my dad's or my mom's brother rather, he was whispering things about the New York Yankees into my ears before I understood what he was saying. But I feel like it shaped me because as far as my memory goes, I've just been a diehard New York Yankees fan, and nothing has been more fun to me than playing baseball, whether it's fielding grounders, shagging flies, taking BP. I love it all, being outside, and there's something about it that's magical to me. So I always wanted to be a Major League Baseball player, and I was a very good ball player, to pat myself on my back. I was a really good player. I was an all-star and the high school team and all that fun stuff, some travel ball. But when I was about 15 years old, although I was a good baseball player, I was also, honest about my abilities. And I started seeing people that had skills that I couldn't even dream of.
Wow.
So I realized, I maybe I should modify my dream a little bit. I'll play for as long as I can, but I think my new dream is to broadcast baseball, because what's the next best thing to playing? It's talking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was lucky that I kind of realized my dream pretty young and figured out the best path towards it, and that ended up being Syracuse and MLB Network, and I stumbled my way into this insane life that I'm now living.
So you mentioned MLB Network. It's like my favorite channel. Like, for a long time on our cable, we couldn't get it, and I was so sad.
He was depressed.
Oh yeah, I was. So because baseball is one of those sports where you can just have it playing in the background. You can even have people just talking about it in the background. It's just kind of soothing. You know what I mean? So how did you you went to Syracuse, got a journalism degree. How did you get to Major League Network?
So part of going to Syracuse was it's the best communications and journalism school in the country. So, and less than 3 hours away from my home. So it was a real best of both worlds there. And MLB Network is fully only happened because I was at Syracuse. They come to Syracuse every year, and they call them interviews, but they're trying to get you, which is pretty cool. So it's like 15-minute intervals. Funny enough, mine was directly in front of Yvonne Trezak, who is our director of creative content with the Bananas now.
Okay.
We both ended up taking the job. I came out of the interview with, 3 big wigs at MLB Network, some good guys, and basically told Yvonne, hey, they're selling us. Like, you don't be worried about anything. And then the next time I saw him was our first day at the end of May of 2018, starting at the network. So that was, I had done some broadcasting in college, in my hometown in Saugerties, the Stallion, some collegiate summer baseball. I did it for 2 summers. It was a blast. That's what I had planned on doing. But like you said, I mean, MLB Network is a magical place in itself. And I was really infatuated with the possibility of bumping elbows with Pedro Martinez and Kevin Millar, Harold Reynolds, Jim Tomei, Mark DeRosa, Dan Plesac. The list goes on and on. Eric Burns. So I couldn't say no to it, and ended up going down to Secaucus, New Jersey, and spent a little over 2 years there. Got a promotion. Ended up it was a dream job in a lot of ways, but it wasn't the dream job, which is why I ended up leaving.
Yeah. So then how did you get to the Savannah Bananas?
So that was, I'd been kind of keeping my eye out. Getting to watch 150 Yankee games a year and getting paid for it was awesome, but it's just a little different. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, but it's a little different than being there in person. And after a couple years of seeing it through the screen, my head started turning a little bit, and I wanted to get outdoors again. And so I was looking around a little bit going into 2020. Was trying to stay local, looking at a lot of teams in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania area, but none of them really needed a broadcaster or sparked too much joy in my life as far as it being the next step for me, coming from a job that I did truly love with Major League Baseball and NHL Network. We always forget NHL Network. I spent like 10% of my time working on hockey, but it's like a whole half of the operation. But so then I saw the opening for the Bananas through a little job board that I was a part of, called the Sportscasters Talent Agency of America, STAA, and the Bananas opportunity was unsurprisingly unlike anything else that I had seen. And I watched the 20-minute story and was mind boggled. Like, I had kind of seen them. I felt like I had seen some highlights here and there and like the name trending on Twitter or whatever, but I didn't I didn't know the story. I didn't know what it was. And then you watch the 20-minute video on the website, and it's such, I think Ben Sheffield edited the video. It's such an amazing video because I watched it and was like, oh my gosh, I need to see this with my eyes. Like, I can't go on in life without experiencing this for what I thought was going to be a summer. I came down on a 2.5-month contract. And then COVID happened, and the 16-team league went to 3 teams, and we had to invent the party animals to kind of get some more games. Like, it ended up being more bizarre and unique than I ever could have imagined. And I'm still there going into my 4th year now. But yeah, it was an opportunity to call some games again, and not just that, but in the most unique baseball experience in the country.
Totally unique.
Oh,
So so tell us a little bit about Banana Ball. We kind of know the rules. We have our favorite rules. What is your take on the rules of Banana Ball, and what are your favorite rules?
That was one of the more surreal and funniest things for me going down to Savannah, is because I didn't know this game existed. They had never played it in front of fans before. And the first game I broadcast 2 weeks into being in Savannah was an inter-squad scrimmage between the Bananas collegiate teams, and they were playing Banana Ball for the first time in front of fans. And they're like, hey, we invented the sport. Here's 9 rules. Figure it out. And I was like, what? So it was really cool. And I think the most important parts of Banana Ball, obviously the 2-hour time limit, every inning counting. So instead of runs being cumulative, it's match style play. You win an inning, you get a point no matter by how many runs. My favorite rule is fans catching a foul ball being an out. That's just amazing. What really keeps the game so fast is that batters can't step out of the box. That's the bread and butter of the speed of us getting, this past weekend we got 9 innings in both times under 2 hours, which is so cool for us. And then no mound visits, no bunting. I think that's almost just like kind of a meme at this point. It's like they just say bunting sucks, and I'm like, sure, whatever, I'm on board. And then showdown tiebreakers instead of extra innings. Because we put a time limit on it, we then don't want a tie game to go on for like another 2 hours. And they figured out a really creative solution, which is baseball's equivalent of basically showdown tiebreakers. And of course, the no walks thing turning into sprints adds a little more excitement there. But that's I think that's kind of how I feel the importance of the rules goes in chronological order a little bit.
Spoken like a true broadcaster.
For me, the first 2 you mentioned are the best. I love the time limit. And I love that every inning counts, because you can be in a major league game. As much as I love baseball, you're in the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning and not much is happening. In those innings, if nothing happens, it doesn't really matter to the end of the game. So I love that. And I think it keeps the players engaged, because they know we can still win this inning and it's going to matter. So I don't know how you ever get in that major leagues, because major leagues is so much about numbers, like the vaunted numbers that you've got to get. I don't know if you could ever do that, but I wish they would.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I think that's part of like my early love for baseball is just I've always been obsessed with the stats and the numbers of it. And you're right, like more than any other sport, numbers in baseball are so immortal and so important to us. And you had that with the Aaron Judge home run race this past summer. That was like it revives you with this new kind of love and connective tissue of the game. And I don't think every inning counts will ever make it into the majors, but what I do think, and I truly would not doubt it, I do think batters not being allowed to step out of the box is the most transferable rule, because you've seen some of the best hitters of all time do it.
Yeah, it doesn't affect the numbers. It just speeds up.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't need to step out of the box and strap your batting gloves and spit in your hands and fix your hair and do that.
It's just a habit they formed,
right?
And you can break that habit.
But to be honest, the problem is they can make the rules, they have to enforce the rules, and that is what they are sometimes not good at. It's just bad parenting.
Yeah, that's funny. It's going to be interesting. They've got the pitch clock this year. They're trying to speed the game up. I'm like, forget a clock. I mean, forget a clock. Our whole slogan is start the clock. Don't forget a clock. Don't forget a clock. But forget a pitch clock. Just keep the people in the box. Barry Bonds, Giancarlo Stanton, and Aaron Judge. A lot of these guys don't get out of the box and are some of the greatest hitters of all time. So if they can do it, anyone can.
That's right.
Okay, you mentioned the 62 home runs. I have to throw in that Alex and I were at the Ranger game where he broke that. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We're not Yankee fans, but again, those numbers are so important. It's like we got to go try to see this game.
Right. He's always trying to one up me, you know. I mean, it's like I catch the Pudge Rodriguez hits and Cal Ripken Jr. signed, and now he's got to go and do that. I mean, it's all the time.
That's a riot.
You still got me on the ball. That's
I got you on the ball.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked banana ball. Tell us about the game day experience, because we haven't been to a live game yet. We've watched it on TV on ESPN.
Soon, very soon.
Very soon. So what is the game day experience? What can you expect when you go?
How many hours do I have to come up early?
That's really what you're getting at here. Right. So gates open at 5:30. I mean, it really depends on where we are in the world. I would, since you are in K Club and you have the special K Club line, I don't think timeliness is going to be as important, because your line's going to be like 10%, if that, of the main line. Where if you show up without the K Club badge with your 4 best friends, you know, at like 5:30, you might end up at the back of a mile-long line. But I wouldn't think the K Club gets longer than, you know, 100 something people.
Yeah.
Just guesstimating. I haven't really looked at the numbers of where everybody is, but you do definitely want to be there by like 5:15, because at 5:20 or so, the parade kicks off with Jesse and all the characters and all the players, and they come flying through the line, and it's high fives galore, and the band's blasting away. It's impeccable vibes. Like it's a cool scene. And that's like really when you first feel the juice. That's when you're like, okay, I'm in Banana Land. This is happening. And then since you're in the K Club, you'll be towards the front of the line. So you'll get to see, they do like a little celebration right at the gate. Little hey baby to warm the people up. And then it's really a big moment. The gate's opening. Jesse does his countdown from 11, not 10, because everything's different in Banana Land, even down to a countdown. And then the gates are stormed. You get inside. Maybe you try and grab a quick bite to eat, something to drink, because you want to be in your seats by like 6 or so, because the show on the field is pumping. Shark will play a little like history of the Bananas. You'll get to hear my voice once or twice, which always warms my heart. And then you get your banana baby and your weigh-in, and the bananas warm up, and the party animals entrance, and the first banana throne, and a bajillion other things on any given night. So that's the thing, is with the 2-hour time limit, we really had to do that because we do so much pregame entertainment. Like we're adding an hour of the show, so it really feels like a little bit more like a 4-hour show for us than the 2-hour game, because we start, you know, the pregame parade at 5:20, and then all the way to a post-game party plaza. That's another 20 minutes, half an hour, and happens right outside the gate afterwards. So for us, it really is, if you get the full bells and whistles of the whole show, it's a 5:20 to 9:20 or 9:30 show.
So I can't remember, is it general seating? Is it?
It is. Oh yeah, it's the
so
wild,
where do
wild
I
west.
want to sit, Biko? Where do I want to be? Do I want to be like behind the dugout, behind home plate? Like I feel like I want to be like right in
like
there.
Where are we going to see most of the shenanigans and that kind of thing?
Where do I want to sit?
Yeah, traditional baseball seating hierarchy applies there. You definitely want to be like behind home plate, but behind the Bananas or Party Animals dugouts are also amazing. Because a lot of the promotions are around there. We try and get everybody involved. Like if there's outfield seating, there'll be 1 or 2 things where we try and get those people going. But in general, like the mound and home plate is right there, and that's kind of the main part of the arena is the infield.
Okay, great. So
we know what we're doing now.
So we know what we're doing. I feel like we have a game plan.
Okay, so you describe all this and the excitement of it. How cool is it to be a lifelong baseball fan and see this much excitement for baseball?
It's so surreal. It's really tough to put into words. I mean, like my dream, as my realized dream after I figured out that I wasn't going to be the best pitcher and hitter. I wasn't going to be the Shohei Ohtani 2.0 of Major League Baseball, because I'm 5'8" and can barely throw 80 miles an hour. of being a broadcaster. Like I can't believe that I get to experience this, and that it's like this is where it's led me, because it's mind-boggling and it's so much fun. And it's no secret at all that baseball's audience is aging out a little bit, and it gets older every year. There's millions of younger folks, like me, who still are in love with the game, but we're in the minority more and more. And seeing the way the kids love this, like that's what fires me up just about as much as anything, is just how much the kids love this. It gives so much youth and exuberance to the game, and it's like, okay, the next generation is into this. Like we're rocking and rolling. We're like baseball's back, baby. So it's insane. It's really mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to give Jesse an idea that I just thought of. Because you talk about excitement in the young kids. I feel like Major League Baseball needs to incorporate y'all somehow because of the excitement you bring.
Mm-hmm.
So, how about bringing the Bananas in during the All-Star weekend and do some banana ball?
Yeah.
Have old players play banana ball or something, just to get that excitement that we know the young people are loving this, and they're not so much loving sitting through a 4-hour game at a Major League stadium. So let's bring it together.
Yeah, Scott, I too think you're onto something there. I'll give that a firm retweet. We've had a lot of contact with the folks at Major League Baseball. They're super cool. They love what we're doing. It's a very symbiotic relationship. And I wouldn't doubt, I really wouldn't doubt that within the next handful of years, the Bananas are involved in the All-Star game. The Major League Baseball did like the We Play Loud with us. So on YouTube, I believe that's what the series is called. During the summer series this past year, they sent a whole crew and mic'd up Kyle Lewis and Dan Oberst. And normally every week they come out with one of these with Major League Baseball players. Yeah. And one week in late August, early September, whenever it was 2 Savannah Bananas players. Like that's the kind of stuff that's like pinch yourself, like what's going on. Yeah. And we've been in contact about a lot of other kind of ways that we could be synergistic with Major League Baseball. So it's cool to have them being fans of us as well, because obviously we all started out as fans of them.
Right. Yeah, and it's good that they're aware that the game needs this. Mm-hmm. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's been really cool. They've welcomed us with open arms. We've had a lot of really fun talks with the league office, and especially their marketing team on how we can, best leverage each other and grow the game.
Yeah, for sure. So you're just coming off of 2023 World Tour Banana Ball, like so exciting. That was this weekend. We watched some of the opening night. Our favorites, the Fireball, Bill Lee walk off on Friday. Like, what are some of your moments from this weekend that you just were like mind blown?
Excellent question. And if you want to know my 12 favorite moments, you can go to the Bananas Facebook or Twitter.
I saw that.
And you nailed 3 of them right there. So that was a really good start. Yeah, Bill Lee returning was definitely my favorite part of it all. It's another thing where it's hard to put into words how important he is to us. He's as nice as could be. He's one of the funniest people that any of us have ever met. His baseball history and experience is just about as powerful as anybody who's walked on the earth. And he's the spaceman. Like, he is a living legend of the game who loves baseball so much. He hasn't quit since he retired, kind of was forced to retire. He was blackballed a little bit. If you ask him about it, he'll talk to you for 5 hours. Back in 1982. So like, this is a guy who's 76 years old and proving that, kind of like golf and tennis, this could be a game you play forever. Yeah. So, and it's just, it gives me chills thinking about Bill and how amazing it's been to have him around us and around the players. He's a wealth of knowledge and the coolest dude you'll ever meet. So, after that,
if people don't know, he had a heart attack last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah. and it wasn't a heart attack. I don't think it's confirmed it was a heart attack. It was a medical emergency. Okay. I think it seemed like his heart stopped. So I don't know if that makes it a heart attack, but I just know that like the doctors were like, oh, we're not sure if it was a heart attack, but it was a medical emergency. He collapsed in our bullpen when we were on ESPN2 last August 19th. when he was about to come into the game. And it was a thing where, he was 75 at the time. He was super dehydrated, was having a stressful day. His wife was ill, so he had gone back to the hotel like 3 times to check on her. All he was running on was like energy drinks. He admits that he did not set himself up for success, and it was a good little learning lesson for him. But our lucky stars, 2 things. One, his bullpen catcher, Matt Wolf, is a paramedic and a firefighter in Oklahoma City. Yes. So his first responder was a first responder. And 2, it was First Responder Appreciation Night for the city of Thunderbolt, which borders Savannah. And we had so many hands that could help. It wasn't even funny. So, they pounced on him in the best way possible and got his heart beating again and woke him up. And voila, he had a little pacemaker put in. He was walking. He felt like he could have gone 9 innings that night. Doctors said you should probably wait a little bit. But he came back and he looked as sharp as ever. His leafuses were leaving our center field camera and plummeting down in the strike zone. Just such a majestic arc. I can't fathom how he does it. Like, it's actually truly really impressive to me how he throws these rainbow arcing pitches that fall in the zone. And then he mixes it up with a little like 75 and all of a sudden it feels like it's like mid 80s, So I'm just, I could talk about Bill Lee until I passed out. I mean, he's awesome. So that was the coolest. The ball on fire was, I mean, I also never thought I would ever see that on a field. That visual and that image was so cool. And I know Kyle's taken a lot of flack online for missing the outside corner by like 1.5 inches.
Maybe that's just a bad call by Vince. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I'd love to say that, but Vincent was right, and I commend him. I commend him for sticking to his strike zone and not trying to expand it just for the moment. That's like the core of Banana Ball. Is we do all these wacky, insane things you never thought you'd see on a field before, but the game is legit. The umpires are legit, and both teams really want to win. They're just playing in some unusual circumstances.
Right, and everybody can really play. I mean, this is like very legit. Yeah. So going back to Bill Lee for 1 second, my dad is like 76, and I'm like, I don't worry about the pitching. When he's pitching, I'm fine with, like, when Billy's pitching, I'm worried about the comeback. And I mean, I'm 52 and we coach a 12U team, and I won't pitch to those kids. I'm not having them ball come back at me. I'll catch them all day long, but I get worried about that for him. The comeback, that's just reflex for him,
I know. I learned how dangerous a comebacker can be this past summer. Halfway through our summer series, I was throwing batting practice to a couple of my MLB Network friends. We've got like a core 4, Yvonne, myself, and two of my friends who I haven't been able to get inside the organization yet. And I took a 1-hopper straight off the face and had a black eye for the last 3 broadcasts. Wow. I mean, I was like 40 feet away from home plate and not 60 feet, but I also have 50 years on Bill Lee. So it's like, it's a very real concern. The players were worried. They're like, hey, what if we nail like one of the most important baseball players that is still with us? And Bill's like, you can't worry about that. He very famously said, I'm not here to die. If I'm going to die on the field, it's not going to be in the bullpen. It's going to be on the field.
That's
and he told Stan Grossfield of the Boston Globe that if he does expire on the field, just put a tarp on him on the back of the mound and play all 9, deal with him afterwards. I mean, this is why the love that we have for this man it shows no bounds.
Oh my goodness, that is great.
Okay, so that's like a teaser. You can find you've got 12 things that you've got, right? So this is a little teaser. You want to go find that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I saw that the other day and I'm going to read it again. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so we got to talk about the guy that started all this, Jesse Cole. And if you haven't seen him, he's always dressed in his yellow top hat and full yellow suit. Mm-hmm. So, and when you were talking about Major League Baseball, there was a funny thought in my head of him walking into these boardrooms in his yellow suit, which is cool. So he's like a Renaissance man. Like, he's recreating things that we got used to, and now he's making it new. Mm-hmm. So what have you learned from him, working with him over the past couple of years, that you can take with you? And
Oh man, so much. I mean, I'm as big a Jesse Cole fan as you'll find in all the land. He's truly baseball's mad scientist, and he was a terrific player himself. Like that's kind of his origin story. Is he was a terrific two-way player at Wofford, and was probably heading to affiliated baseball if he didn't have a pretty excruciating injury, which thank goodness for all of us he had, because
Yeah.
Jesse Cole could, maybe would have been a good ball player, but maybe also toils away in the minors for a few years. And then what happened? So he figured out that he loved playing baseball, but didn't love watching it once he tried to transition into coaching. And all of a sudden, his gears started turning on how to make this whole thing, a little more entertaining for folks who weren't like the 90 or the 1.00% of people who just love sitting down and watching a baseball game like me. And, I think that the number one thing that I've learned from Jesse is just to think differently and question everything. Just because something has been done some way forever doesn't mean it's the right way to do things. And you have to be able to adapt. Like TikTok is probably our most powerful social media. It didn't exist like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we live in a TikTok generation. Now it's the most powerful social media for the youngest generation. And that kind of has led to the scrolling life, the really short attention spans that the people even younger than I have developed. And Banana Ball is perfect for that because something's always happening. And then just working with Jesse, he's definitely got a lot of quirks. Like you can't be that smart and that much of a genius without being kind of an oddball. I love him. I absolutely love him, but he is a goofy son of a gun. He's got genius. Like he's just flying around. He's always thinking big picture. He's a perfectionist, and he can't be a part of every single part of the organization, but he'll always stop in and give everyone the attention and give everyone his opinion on things, and then he trusts all of us to make it happen. And I'm amazed by his work ethic more than anything. I mean, this guy lives, breathes, dreams Savannah Bananas, and just how he can make baseball fun and spread this message and this joy to the world. And even with all of that, he does a really good job of balancing his work-life balance. So I'm amazed by Jesse and his wife Emily. The two of them, what they've created here in Savannah is it's truly something special. And I'm really lucky to have had a front row seat since I came down in the summer of 2020.
Yeah, that's so true. I'm a hairdresser by trade. And so I have new clients all the time in my chair, different clients. And I'm like, have you heard the Savannah Bananas? I mean, this is a common conversation that I have at the salon. And most often the answer is, I watch them on TikTok. I watch them on TikTok. So yeah, that has been a huge jumping off place, I think, for Savannah Bananas. And so you have found your dream job at what? I mean, you must be like 20 years old. You look so young. And so what about aspiring broadcasters coming up? You seem to be loving what you're doing at such a young age. What advice do you have for some young ones out there that are just
I barely look a day over 15. I'm 26 now. Still, I haven't shaved my face since Friday, and this is all I can muster. So, I haven't figured it all out.
Look what we have now. He's 52.
Around 40.
Around 40. You've got a few years, but
that's fascinating. Okay, cool. So, all right, there's still hope for me.
Keep pressing on.
That's funny. But I will say what I do know about broadcasting is the most important thing is reps. Like it's just, and this can go for basically anything in life, but the more you do something, the better you get at it. And it's so important to just go out and the opportunity to be on the air might not be there for you, but that doesn't mean you can't go to a game with your phone and do a voice recording of the game and then go back and take a listen and send it to whoever in your life may have any idea about a sports broadcast and let them know, hey, tear me apart. Constructive criticism is so important. It's you could get to a point where once you have too many voices, they start contradicting each other. So like there's a happy medium of finding, you know, balance of where to put the blinders on and just do the best broadcast that you think you're doing, and where to get your advice. But it's just reps, to take every opportunity you can. Like it and I think Tim Kirchin, one of my lifelong idols, joined us by chance this past weekend, and he stressed to me that, you know, it doesn't matter if 10 people are watching or a billion people are watching. You always have to show that you're giving it your all, and that you are excited and thrilled to be putting on this broadcast, because one of those 10 people could be, you know, the owner of some amazing opportunity, who loves what they hear. So and that's always how I've gone about my business. And it was cool to hear Tim, like, that's one of the first things he said to me upon meeting him. And I was like, yeah, Tim, like, we speak. That's what I'm talking about. Speak your truth. So yeah, it's just, it doesn't matter how many people are watching or what you're broadcasting. Just do it and have fun, and then do whatever you can to get better and have fun.
A little bit like playing baseball, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, repetition, and you never know who's watching.
Yep.
Yeah, the old 10,000 hours thing has been disproven a little bit, but there's still a lot of truth to it, in that, you know, the more time you put into something, the better you're going to be.
For sure.
Well, and just talking about our coaching youth, is we always told them, don't let your parents come get your bag out of the dugout. You get all your stuff together and take it out, because you don't know what scout or coach is looking, especially as you're getting a little older. So make sure they know you're taking care of your stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't want to see your parents in this dugout.
That's right.
Biko, we can't thank you enough for taking time to talk to us today. Still want to meet your parents, but I can't wait to see you in March in Sugarland.
Yep.
We're going to be cheering you on. We're Savannah Banana biggest fans. Can't wait to happen. I mean, it's going to be great.
I'm so fired up for my debut trip to the Lone Star State. I mean, I truly can't wait. A little trip right outside H-Town. That's what else could you want? So yeah, I'm fired up. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. The questions were tremendous. It was a really fun conversation.
Thank you. Make sure you find some barbecue and a mechanical bull. You're all set.
All right, I can do that.
Biko Suave. I think that's actually his Instagram handle. He's got Biko Suave in there. And how awesome was that?
That
what
was
a cool,
so
what a
great.
cool guy.
Pretty sure he's not old enough to know what Rico Suave is, right?
Well, he's probably watched it on YouTube, I would imagine.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
He was so good and so energetic, and it just makes me so excited to go see these games.
Right. And it makes me excited for baseball in general. To hear that Major League Baseball understands this is an issue with the game, and they're embracing banana ball to a certain degree, it just gives me hope for the sport in general. Because it's a sport I love, but it's a sport I can see that's dying. So this is the shot in the arm that baseball needed.
I hope so. I hope so. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this interview with Biko. We hope you have already gone to the website to check out Savannah Bananas. You will not be disappointed. We're all ready to go. We're excited to cheer on our favorite Savannah Bananas, and we will see y'all soon. Hardy Party at 5.5, over and out.
We'll see you next time.